For the past 2 decades, China has increased her contact with the African continent. As a result, there have been increased government-to-government interaction, people-to-people interaction, and a lot of exchange of goods and services. This noticeable phenomenon has not, however, been seen by the West and its allies as with good intentions, especially from the Chinese side. In this video, I focus on the good that this contact has brought, especially to the African continent. It is true that nation-to-nation interaction is driven by interests of either side. That is why I take a look at if the African side's interests are being met, or at least seem to be in consideration, as some would put it. In a nutshell, is China good for Africa? To begin with, for a relationship to work out, there must be mutual respect for one another. Though this is the criteria for human-to-human relations, is internation made up of humans? Respect for one's culture and identity can also apply when it comes to diplomatic relations. When a behemoth like China has great respect for the culture and traditions of a country like Sao Tome and Principe, the latter feels and understands the respect it has been accorded. This also makes it easy for other African countries, regardless of their might, to believe it when China sells a non-interference policy to them. China has been praised by many African states for not interfering in their domestic affairs. African leaders hope that China will interact with them by engaging economically, without condescendingly being their benchmark on governance. China has also over the past years invested in nearly all the African countries. Even though the West and its allies label China as only interested in the extractive industries of African states, something that the West also does, Chinese investments have also reached non-resource-rich African countries. Chinese-owned firms have also invested in the manufacturing sector of many African nations, thereby providing employment opportunities to the nationals of the respective states. This enhances their living standards as well as contributing to the transfer of knowledge and skills. The investments, termed as debt trap investments by the West, have enabled many African countries improve the quality of their infrastructure. They also come through unconditional soft loans that many African governments cannot secure from global governance institutions such as IMF and the World Bank, who pressure many African governments to enact undesired policies such as the famous structural adjustments. The investments, which help in fast-tracking the infrastructural boom that many African states have experienced, have been praised by many African states. China has also committed to invest more in the continent when the West faced a financial crisis in the past. Before we continue the video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel, like the video, and comment. You can also hit the notification button. Thank you. Now back to the video. Yes, it is true that the relationship between China and Africa is unbalanced, but it is important to both sides. While China imports mostly raw materials from Africa, it exports finished goods to the continent. Such is the imbalance. However, China is an important international market for African goods. After all, China needs raw materials for our industries, and Africa needs cheap finished products for our population. In recent years, though, Chinese-built and Chinese-owned industries have started springing up on the continent. This offshoring of the production line leads to some African countries producing almost finished or finished goods, and this increases the value of their exports. Even though the trade surplus is in favor of China, the value of trade between the two has risen from $1 billion in 1980 to $128 billion in 2016. And contrary to what the West believes, Africans do not see themselves as victims of the Chinese exploitation, and no country comes near the depth and breadth of China's engagement in Africa. It is Africa's largest trading partner, bilateral creditor, and crucial source of infrastructure. China and Africa have also improved their military and security cooperation. This has enabled many African countries to acquire military hardware from the Chinese to help in combating insecurity and to modernize their militaries. Africa is a continent with a rapidly growing population. As a result, most African governments look to China to provide them with the expertise they have gotten from their rapid economic growth and be able to lift many of their citizens out of poverty at record-breaking speeds like China did. All this said, the most important item is China provides an avenue for the African continent to be in a position of strategic autonomy, especially now that the world is seen as to be entering the next stage of multilateralism. Many African states can choose to be non-aligned in the bipolar world and reap the benefits that come with it. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. You can also comment and like the video and share it as well. Thank you.